Hello.
Oh. Oh.
Hi.
Can't see my head. Oh. Better?
Hello.
Hello, darling.
All right.
Hello.
Sounds like you've gone and got yourself a teenager.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. It is just
Hello, monkey.
down there now.
Did it sort of happen overnight?
Pretty much, I would say, didn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Went
Oh,
from
yeah.
having a beautiful, lovely little obedient puppy to an idiot teenager who didn't know anything anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much. Exactly that.
All right. So it's not unexpected. How much do you understand about the changes in the brain for teenagers? Do you want me to go over all of that?
Yeah.
I think your colleague was on about it. Only
Yeah.
brief something.
Dawn was on about it to us because he tried to go to daycare and he got kicked out.
That's him.
He
Oh,
was
you know that Dodo got kicked out as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's back. So it's not that they're permanently kicked out. It's just that they can't cope while they're going
Yeah.
through stages of development. So, right. So have you done Zoom before?
Not a Zoom training, no.
So the way that Zoom works is that it steals the attention from whoever's the loudest, basically gets the mic. So if the sound, if I keep cutting out, it'll be because your mic and your sound are stealing the attention.
Okay.
So if that starts happening, what I'll get you to do is you mute yourself. And the way you can do that is if you click on your own image, and you'll find that a mute button comes up. And you can just click on there, and I'll do the same when you're talking. If I can't hear you, I'll try muting myself. The only problem with that is that quite often I'll forget to unmute myself again. So you'll have to get my attention, wave at me and get me back to you.
Yeah.
So teenagers then, all teenagers, including ourselves, go through a phase where the brain is not functioning as it was. It's basically doing a bit of a reboot. If it was a computer, it's sorting through all of its different connections that it's got, and it's those ones that are not really being used, those apps that are gone out of function. So those synapses and those synaptic connections that are no longer being strengthened by being used, they are removed, they're disconnected, and they'll only be reconnected if the brain finds that they are being reused. Okay. So it's not that you lose all of that previous learning, it's just that the pathways in the brain that allow those circuits to be used are disconnected. And that can happen overnight. Your dog can suddenly appear to forget what sit means or what sit means in different situations. And it's not because your dog's doing it on purpose. It's not that they're being stubborn. They literally have a blank moment where they can't make that connection. Yeah. So they might have been really, really good at something, and they'll go through this phase where they seem to have forgotten everything you ever taught them. At exactly the same time, the emotion systems in the brain that deal with frustration and fear become overactive. Really poor design, if you ask me. But the reason that happens is that if he were living in a pack of wild animals, it would be really important just now that he wasn't allowed to spread his genes, because he's not got the knowledge and the experience required to safely bring up a group of puppies. So that's more how it's happened and why it developed. But it's important that he not have the confidence at this stage to be able to challenge older males and things like that. So it means that they're a little bit more anxious about the world, a little bit more reactive to the world. And again, that's an expected thing. and it doesn't make it easy for us to live with them, because they'll suddenly appear to be acting completely out of character and appear to be ignoring us. So it can make us feel like they're doing it on purpose, and it's very frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a phase that they tend to come through the other side of. For some dogs, if those behaviors have the additional stress of sexually driven behaviors, so hormones that are driving him to want to acquire, feminine interests, then that's even harder, because they've got that additional stress. So for some dogs, that's not actually a problem, and they never seem to notice, and they never seem to develop those problems. And for some dogs, it becomes their absolute all. So for Dodo, who I was going to keep entire until he was fully grown at about 18 months, once he'd got to 11 months, Dawn put her foot down and said, if you don't get him castrated, he can't come to daycare. He's driving me absolutely batty. He can't focus. He can't concentrate. All he wants to do is, cause trouble with the other dogs, because he's trying to mount everybody and he's peeing on everything.
That's what he was doing. That's why he got told.
Yeah, so he ended up having to be neutered because of that. The problem with neutering at such a young age is that it does change the way that they develop physically, so that it causes what they call premature growth plate closure. It keeps the growth plates open longer than they should be, so they grow differently, so their joints can sometimes not be as fully formed as they should be, and therefore more likely to get damaged. There is also some discussion as to whether or not castration can increase their responsivity to fear and to anxiety, because they're taking away the confidence hormone, the testosterone. That's not really been decided yet, because there's equally the studies saying that entire males are more likely to get into fights and to have trouble with other dogs. So yeah, not sure about that. My experience of entire males that have been allowed to go through the process naturally is that they generally end up being very, very steady dogs. But it's whether or not you can live with them and keep them safe in the meantime if they're being driven by hormones, especially being as their brain's not functioning properly and their emotion system is overreacting. I think that third thing can sometimes be a bit hard. But we do have to consider, if we take the testosterone away and he is in a fear period where he is being more susceptible to stresses, then we do have to make life easier for him until he's gone through and finished with that. Now, for some dogs, the adolescence phase can last quite a long time. Everybody's different. Some of them kind of sail through it and it doesn't seem to bother them at all. I didn't think, having been castrated at 11 months, Dodo seemed to settle down and his adolescence phase seemed to go away, and I thought I'd kind of got away with it. And then it re-emerged at about 18 months, so that he suddenly started being a plonker and not wanting to come back on his recall, and generally the world was more exciting than me. So everybody's different. So the first thing I need for you to understand is your dog is never, ever doing things on purpose to upset you. They are upsetting you. I'm not saying that you're wrong to feel frustrated and angry and upset. It's just that your dog isn't actually doing it on purpose. It's all internally driven. It's all from themselves. Yeah. And what we need to do is we really need to try and make life as easy to understand as possible, and go back to basics with training, as if he were a tiny puppy, as if he'd never learned it before. That means increasing your rewards again, taking it step by step by step, and being as patient as is humanly possible, which I know it's not easy. So you've got, Dawn mentioned there were 3 specific areas that you were concerned about. Obviously recall, which is generally one of the first things that gets damaged with adolescence. And then that finding it difficult to keep his attention on you, that he seems to be phasing away and life is not interesting, and then that you'd seem to be having trouble getting stuff off him once he's got hold of something, he doesn't want to give it back.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, well, it's mostly him obviously coming back to us like when we need his attention, pulling on a lead, which I think recall will help with that as well, because you can like regain his attention from that, and getting him in from the garden outside.
Yeah.
He will find everything and anything on the floor, in the grass. He can have gone on like exaggerating, he could probably have gone on like an hour's walk, like running the whole way, and still go outside and race around the garden. And he just doesn't come in, and it's at the times where you don't want him to be out there, like it's a quick week because it's chucking it down, and then he's racing around the garden kind of thing. But obviously recall would help with that as well, like getting him inside a lot quicker.
So when he's out and he's exercising, you say that he's running around. Does he ever sort of slow down, take it easy, take the world in? Or is he always just
no, on a walk he just pulls to the point where my mum said he might have smelt a bitch in the area who's on season, to the point where he's basically like laid down walking. He's trying to pull that much with his nose to the floor, but it's constant in it, and he sounds like, you know, like a pug where they can't breathe and they're like that. He's sounding like that, and he's not one of them types of dogs.
Which you think he'd stop, because you think like, God, if this is hurting him and it's difficult breathing, he'd slow down, not pulling. But no, it's.
And that's with the harness as well. So he's obviously pulling at some force to be able to do that.
All right. So we have to be careful that we're not assuming that he's trying to get to something, because you could be exactly the same behavior if he was anxious about the environment he was in and he was trying to get away from it. Okay. So it would look the same. But it does go right back to basics. It does go right back to, first of all, teaching him. So have you got anywhere where you can go where you can just take him and let him off without having to walk him tidily on the side of the road?
No.
All right. So he's got no choice but to be on a lead. So we do need to
try with a long line as well, didn't we?
Yeah, tried it with a long line.
And he was an absolute nightmare, like picking everything up, and because he's on a long line, you're having to like either bring him in, or like you had hold of him and to go to him to try and get stuff off him, and it just didn't work. And then he got poorly from the place where we took him. So yeah, we don't.
All right. So yeah, it's a concern that he is likely to hurt himself if he's pulling so hard, and that he can cause physical damage, you know. What style harness has he got on?
He's got the perfect fit one.
So is it fitted so it's definitely not rising into his neck?
No, yeah, we went and had it fitted at that Muddy Paws place. They fitted it all properly for him.
And have you been using a double line on a clip?
We tried that as well, and
no, it was difficult for us to use. I know you've got to keep
because he when you're obviously holding it with both hands, you then literally walk into your feet. Like no matter how high you put your arms out, you then walk into your feet. So obviously we don't want to hurt him by tripping over him either. But yeah, he was still pulling on that, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was the same, but it was only one time. We've tried it once.
Okay, all right. I'm making notes. Okay, so does he take food when you're out on a walk?
No.
So he just won't take it. Have you tried toys as a way of entertaining him and engaging him?
No. Just simply our voice saying no.
But even when we give him treats and that outside, he doesn't take them, does he?
Well, no, he'd eat them, but then he'd just carry on.
Does he have a favourite toy that he's crazy about at home?
Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pig.
All right. But you haven't tried playing with him out in the world?
Not really, no.
No.
Do you play with him at home?
Yeah.
Not inside the house, not outside.
Yeah.
Okay, what games do you play with him inside?
Just generally just throwing his toy. So it's like we throw it over the room and then he'd come and play with it. And then you just
Yeah,
play
so
with
fetch and tug of war, basically.
Yeah.
And then I did buy him a load of puzzle treats, but I think it's obviously,
He's too
with him
smart
being a
for him.
poodle, he's too smart for him. And he figures, literally, I gave him one, that it's that folding one where you put the treats in it and it's the fabric and you fold it together. Yeah, he was literally pour on it. If I port my overpour that way, then it'll open. Literally within seconds, he'd done it.
He's good with puzzles. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, so I think we have to pick one because we haven't got enough. Well, put it this way: my recall course,
Mm.
a 4-week course, so it's
Right.
4 hours worth of information. So, to try and do all 4 problems which you've got, that's not possible to do in an hour. So I think pulling on the lead is also not a one-off single fix, but I can give you some ideas of things you might change to help him with that.
Mhm.
And well, do you have a preference for this, the remainder of this hour? Do you have a preference as to which one?
Yeah. So it's basically when we go outside, you let him out for a wee.
Common amidst recall.
Yeah. So go outside for a wee. So yeah, it's just recall. Say, Dougie, come here, and then he'll actually come.
Okay, brilliant. That's it. So we'll do that. So the first thing we need to think about with recall is quite often what a human has taught their dog is when you hear this sound, ignore it. Because when you hear this sound, it means that your fun is going to finish, that you're going to be removed from whatever it was you were busy doing. Quite often we will repeat and repeat and repeat that sound. So actually what we're doing is practicing the dog ignoring us more.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a brand new sound, brand new thing that you are going to say when you really need your dog's attention, that you're only going to use when it's really important. You're not going to use it to nag. You're not going to use it in normal interactions. So I had one guy the other week, he decided that his word was sausage. It can be whatever you like, but it needs to be one you haven't used before. It needs to be something brand new to you and the dog, and it needs to be one that you've both recognized as being your emergency recall, which you're not going to use routinely. All right, so think of a word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because we always say come, don't we? We don't say here or
Yeah,
come here. We don't
we've
say
got-
that.
Yeah. So when he's not listening, we say biscuit, chicken, or treat.
Or
So
Kong.
yeah. So I like something combined with like a biscuit or something like that. But we say biscuit and stuff. Another word for a treat. What's another word for a treat?
Goodie. Goodie.
Or yeah. I'm not too sure about that. Bloody hell, it's an airport. Have you got any words?
Yeah, so here I've just recently, like you said, I had trouble with Dodo, so I decided to retrain him. And it occurred to me that all the things that I'd used when he was younger and as a puppy, I'd never used the word here. So I actually went with the word here, and we're going to demo with it.
That's what I just said.
What we're planning on doing is planning on getting what they call a reflex response. So a reflex is something the body has no control over. Okay, so the body doesn't get to choose. If you put your hand onto a hot plate on the oven Your hand's already moved before your brain goes, ooh, that's hot. Your hand's already gone. The reflex doesn't get processed in the brain. It just causes an instant reflex, an instant response. Okay? So by the time he's had a chance to think about it, he's already on his way back.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And the way we do that is we do that by linking that sound to something really fun. So for dogs, fun is chasing and eating. And we need to make sure it isn't linked to anything the dog's going to find a little bit stressful or pressuring. All right. The first game we're going to play is called the 1, 2, 3 game. All right. Number 1 is you say it. Number 2 is you run a couple of steps. And number 3 is you reward it. But you're going to do it like this. I'm going to go get a dodo and show you. So let me just move that camera again so you can see a bit more. Bring my chair away somewhere. There's not a lot of floor available. So, dodo.
Oh, straight in.
He's just been out, so he's very wet. All right. So let me just put you on speaker view. You should just be able to see me. So I know what my word is. So I'm going to use the word we talked about. And I'm not going to interact with him for a bit. I'm going to hope that he knows what he's doing, but I'm hoping that he's going to take his attention away from me and be engaged a little bit in the environment. And then when he's doing that, I'm going to say it. Then I'm going to run a couple of steps. And then I'm going to feed him at my feet. Okay, so I'm going to go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about that reflex, what you should be able to see is that as I say it, he's already started moving.
Yeah.
Before I start moving. Because his reflex is already working. And the more you practice it, as a little game like that, the more you get that reflex. So do you want to have a bash at that? And just show me the word, say it, and then do it, which is your run, and then feed it and feed right at your feet. Put the food right at your feet.
So just stand here.
What we're going with here.
Yeah, here, I think.
Okay.
Because we don't say that, do we? So
No, we haven't never said that. All right, then we'll try here. Then.
So he's at the door at the minute, completely ignoring me. It's all right.
So say it and then run.
Yeah.
When he gets to you, feed him right at your feet. Now stand still for a second. Now he's looking at you. Say it when he looks. Do it and run.
Yeah.
That's good.
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Because he needs to listen to you as well. Yeah, Matt.
So I'll go. So he's standing on my feet now, yeah?
Yeah, now you've got his attention. So one of the things you were worried about was that he doesn't want to give his attention to you.
Right, okay.
Now what have you got? You've
Too
got a
much
little
attention.
saying, say it again, say it again, say it again.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. He's just looking at me straight away now. Yeah.
Because that little chase is so much fun. So we're going to add something to that little chase.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's your 1, 2, 3. Say it, do it, pay it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now we're going to add a roll it. So we go, say it, do it, which is you running. When they get to you, we roll it away. But I want you to roll it like this. So he gets to you. You keep his nose with you right at your feet and you roll it along the floor. Now I'm saying my here when he's already on his way back to me.
He's listening to you.
Beautiful. So when he's already looking at me, he's already starting to travel back to me. That's when I'm saying my special word.
Okay.
Now I haven't got enough room in here to do my little run. You might have enough room there. So say it, do your little run, roll it. Then say it, do your little run, roll it.
From here, I think.
As soon as he looks at you again, say it, do your little run. So you can turn around and roll it away if you've only got a small distance.
So
You can have it. That's it.
Put your nose to the ground and roll it.
That's it. As soon as he turns around, call him.
yeah.
Roll it. As soon as he turns around, call him. Do your little run and then roll it.
Oh yeah, do the little run, yes.
Yeah.
One more. I was skitty then.
That was a good one, yeah.
Good boy.
Good boy.
All right.
Yeah.
So you can see then that gives you an opportunity to start sending him further and further away and practicing him coming back from a bigger distance. It means you can practice inside, tossing him out of a room and having him chase back into that room. It means that you can then add hiding. So you toss him away and you run away and you get behind a door or whatever, and then when he's coming back, he's got to actively look for you. So all of these start to make paying attention to you just really good fun because you become unpredictable. Sometimes you're going to hide, sometimes you're going to run, sometimes you're going to feed him directly at your feet, sometimes you're going to throw that food away and then run away from him again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, to make ourselves even more unpredictable, if you've got a dog who just thinks you're the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, he's copying. He's trying to copy, but it's not so.
He's come up.
Can you see a doggy? Can you?
What is it, Doug?
All right, come on, off here. So, what are we going to do now?
Yep.
To play a game called Dodge and Dive.
Right.
Okay. So imagine that you've got his attention back, you've got some of your little recalls. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have him guessing which way we're going to go. So I want your feet to stay still and I want the top of your body to move. Can you see his body? He's going, she's going to go that way, she's going to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to go. You see him go?
Yeah.
Yeah? So that's what I want you to do.
Okay.
So we're going to dodge and dive, say here, and then dive in a direction. And either pay at your feet or roll it away, but you've got to wait for him to come back.
Keep your feet still.
Okay.
Still, top of your body, lunging. Do you remember lunges from school where your knees that are bending?
Ah, your knees are bending. Ah, okay. I was going to say.
Moves.
Yeah, I see what you mean now.
So do the side, like side, and then roll it away from you, or
yeah, you're going to do your little. You're going to say here. You're going to do your little runaway, and then you're going to either pay at the feet when they get to you, or roll it away. Wait for them to come back to you.
when you've got his attention, do that.
Yep.
And then say it, run, give it.
It's not. Well, there we go. And then run. Yeah.
So say it first, then run.
Ah.
Okay.
Something like that. There you go.
Yep. So say it, do it, feed it, or say it, do it, roll it. But when we're dodging and diving, we're not going to move our feet until we've said the special word.
Yeah. And then roll it.
Yeah.
Say, Doug, did you see me? You know, you didn't see that roll then.
All right. So rolling it away means that you're increasing the distance that the dog is away from you, which means that you can practice lots of calling him when he's already wanting to come back to you. So that's giving really positive thoughts to that idea of coming back towards the owner, which we've probably accidentally got rid of by making coming back to you a nasty experience. You know, it's something they don't want to do because you're pulling them away from interesting stuff.
Yes.
Yeah? Does that make sense? All right, so another game then. Another game. It's a really nice way of getting their attention. When you're walking along and your dog's gone off and they're sniffing at stuff and they're engaged, so I'm going to throw a piece of food out there to just show him doing that, which obviously he's not going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to go, oh, what's this? And I put a little pile of food. Oh, what's this?
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
And what we're doing when we do that is we are making ourselves out to be a better hunter than the dog. Oh, my light flickered off. What we're not doing is we're not begging them to come to us. So we're not going to look at them. We're really interested. Come out. It's my dog pulling on the wire. Come out. My lamp. Hang on. Excuse me. I'm going under the desk.
That's all right.
Leave it alone. Shorty. Leave it alone. It's because I think a treat must have gone under the tower at the back of the desk. Okay. So, if the dog thinks that you're really, really good at finding the good stuff, and the only thing you do is you give a little body language, your movement and your attention on that spot, and when they get to it, they find out that there's some stuff left, you know, then they're going to want to keep track of you a bit more. They're going to want to watch where you're going a bit more.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I want you to do. I want you to turn your back. You're not interested. We're not asking him to come to us on this occasion. What we're saying is, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? Ooh, 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 what's this?
Right, yeah.
Okay, give that a go.
Please.
Ooh, what's this?
You like this. You like this game.
Ooh, what's this?
You can try it. Birthday sign.
Oh, what's this? Oh, what's this?
You dropped a bit there.
Okay.
Oh,
What I want you to do is your back door. Is your back door quite close to where you're working at the moment? The problem zone. Come out. Stop digging me wires.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So you know the game we were doing where we were playing the 1, 2, 3 game. So say it, do it, feed it. I want you to play that game and then open the door and continue to play the game.
Okay.
It's not.
What's this?
No, the where he's looking at you and you do the here run. Not the side to side one, the one that we did first.
All right, so yeah, okay.
So I'll do it, and then you open the door because he goes out with you a lot when you go to the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to be basically you're playing the same game inside and outside, backwards and forwards between the 2 spaces. So that what he's learning is when you hear me say, then I'm going to run and there's going to be some food.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So do I start first inside and then you'll go outside?
You can do it as a pair if you like, or you can do it as a single person.
As a pair, because I'll be outside leaving the door open while she's inside. Yeah?
Yeah, you could do that, or you could do a single person and you roll the food away from you out into the garden and then you call him back in again and you feed him there. Yeah, so you can mess it up, make it unpredictable, make it fun.
I'll be outside then. I'll go outside, so jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know if I could hear him, it's really round.
So quite often men's voices, because they're deeper, don't travel so well. So if you can raise the pitch slightly, so it sounds a bit more girly.
Because deeper you are, the less you can hear.
Right, okay.
So grab another bit.
Oh, hang on. Either.
Just say here.
So while he's in the garden, he could do a little one just on his own. While Dougie's looking at him, he could say it, do it, and run into a different part of the garden. And then you could call him from there. Yeah.
Now he knows now.
That's fine. So if you haven't called him, don't feed him. So in the garden now, I want you to just do your dodge and weave and then say it, do it, feed it.
Okay.
So take him in the garden, dodge and weave.
Dougie.
No shouting, Matt. Don't know his name. See, that's good because right now he would be trying to get up on the cabinets because I'm cutting up chicken.
Oh no.
No, dog just barked in the garden.
A dog bark.
That's fine. Don't push him. If it's worrying him out there, don't worry about it. So dodge and wave.
Dog.
No, it's all right. All right.
He's thinking about it though.
Yeah, do it anyway. Say it, do it, and feed it. Remember your little run? Say it, run, and then feed it.
Oh, that was sweet.
All right. So by changing the word, by getting that reflex response, and by adding fun to the experience of being called, He's now dead keen to run indoors with you, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right. So, but it takes practice, you know? It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And the more often that your dog gets to practice ignoring you, the longer it's going to take for your recall to really sit back into his brain. Okay,
Yeah.
so that means that when you're out on a walk, if he's allowed to make a choice to ignore you, and you continue to make that noise while he's ignoring you, you're teaching him that that noise doesn't matter anymore, that you can ignore it. All right. So what we need to do is not call him. I know that sounds a bit daft, but unless you're actually doing a practice session or you really need his attention because it's an emergency, you're not going to use that word.
Right.
All right. So for now, for this week, you only practice at home.
Yeah.
In the home and in and out of the garden into the kitchen, anywhere inside the house and in and out into the garden. You're not going to use that recall word in the wild because it will fail. And every time it fails, you're teaching him to ignore it.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
What do you do instead? Well, I'm sorry, but it's one of these. And I know that they're foul and I know that they're horrible, but we've got to remember that the more time he spends practicing staying away from you and ignoring you and not giving attention to you,
Yeah.
the better he's going to be at that. The better he's going to get. And they are horrible. I know they're horrible. You know, we all hate them, all dog trainers. But it is the very best way to get your dog back to having that habit of following you around.
Yeah.
So at home, once you've got him super excited every time you say your recall word and he's like, love this game, want to play with this game, then you're going to take him with his long line next week into a space where there's very little other distractions. It's a big open field. And I know that he's really good at finding distractions.
Yeah.
Take his very best treats. So whatever it is that's his superfood or his super toy. So if he's a bally person, you take 2 balls.
Yeah.
One's to throw and the other one's to have ready to give him when he gets back to you.
Another one of them.
That's another one.
Squeaky pig. Squeaky pig.
Piggy pig dog.
They can't have squeaky pigs at my house. They drive me bonkers. He's only allowed to have it for a few minutes and he can't have it when we're on camera. This is a Kong wubba and it's very loud and he adores it, don't you? Yeah. So you can use a toy if your toys are, but only if you're good at getting it back from them. All right?
Yeah.
So let's imagine I'm dodging and weaving. I'll get rid of it. Dodging and weaving. Dodging and weaving, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to give him the toy, and I'm going to run away. And when he gets to me, when he's, so surprised he's allowed to have it. Aren't you? So surprised that you're allowed to have it. I'm going to engage him in a game.
Yeah.
So if you're using a ball, you're going to throw the ball so he can chase it. If you're using a tug, you're going to engage him in a game, and then you're going to have him let go of it. So the easiest way to get a dog to let go is put the food right on the end of the nose. Take the toy out of the way. Okay.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
If you're using a ball, you're going to need 2 balls because he's likely not to bring it all the way back. So you have to have another one ready to throw in the opposite direction as he comes towards you.
Yeah.
That make sense?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Okay. But it's all about maintaining that reflex, that non-thinking response, that I can't help myself, I've got to go. because it's so exciting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're going to do lots and lots of practice of all of those so that he gets excited when he hears you say something. Now, we're humans and we have this is why he's not allowed to have it. We're humans and we have this nasty habit of nagging. Nasty habit of nagging. We can't seem to help ourselves. As soon as we have a dog that seems to be ignoring us, we start repeating ourselves. And actually, that's the worst thing you could possibly do. Because the more you repeat yourself, the more your dog's learning that listening to you is really boring. It's a bit like if you were in the middle of watching, are you a sports fan?
Yes.
Okay, so if you were watching your favourite sport, whatever it might be, and someone came over and said, can you just do such and such for me? You might obligingly, if you're a nice fella, you might say okay, and you'll come away from whatever it is you're watching and you'll do that thing for them because you're a good guy. But if they ask you again in 10 minutes time, you're going to be that little bit more reluctant to come away from your game.
Yeah.
And if they ask you again in 10 minutes time, you might be inclined to just ignore them.
Yeah.
And if they come again, the chances are you're going to not want to be paying any attention to them at all. And this is what we do to our dogs by nagging and nagging and nagging. So what we want to do instead, we're going to let your dog completely engage in the environment. We're going to let them safely, on the long line, completely engage and ignore us. But if they look at you, if they come and they check in with you, if they come and say, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you nagging at me? Why aren't you saying things to me? Then we're going to give them attention and we're going to give them a reward. We're going to say, thank you. Thank you for giving me a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
And that little bit of attention, when they look over their shoulder and they check where you are and they check what you're doing, that's called the check-in. And every time they check in, whether that be at home or whether it be out on a walk, I want you to acknowledge it. I want you to say, thank you, and you're cute, love it now.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the time, I want you to just ignore them. Yeah, I want you to pretty much blank them, let him get on with what he's doing. Let him really engage with the environment. Then once you've had this week's worth of practice in the home, you can test your recall sound, but I only want you to test it out in the world a few times, so 3 or 4 times on a walk. I don't want you doing it over and over and over and over and over, because imagine from his point of view, he's watching whatever, the footy, he's reading his emails, he's got all sorts of information that he needs to process, and you keep interrupting. You're irritating. Yeah. So only practice it 3 or 4 times next week out in the wild. But I want you to keep a little score. How many times do you call and how many times does he respond immediately? All right. So you do 4, let's say, and you get 2, that's 50%. Yeah. And until you've got an absolute over 80 or 90% recall, so that every time in any situation, regardless of what's going on, then we don't start to remove that long line. We don't trust them. Otherwise, things go backwards again. We will start, because we're human, we'll start nagging and feeling like they shouldn't be ignoring us. So we start making the recall become something that's horrible again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So prevent him from getting it wrong. Make sure that it's always fun, that he always really enjoys the results when you say it, that getting back to you is just the bestest thing in the world. Don't practice it where it's likely to go wrong, because if it goes wrong, and he ignores you, you're just undoing all of the work that you've done. And eventually, two things will happen. Adolescence will start to fade. You may decide to reduce his male hormones, so that won't be affecting your interactions. And his experience of coming back to you is going to be a more pleasant one, because either he's choosing to do it without even being called, so he's choosing to do a check-in, to come back and say, I'm still here. And you're going to go, I'm so happy that you're still here. You know, he's going to be choosing to do it. So you're not nagging at him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. How does that feel?
Good.
So how often should we practice it in a day, you know, at home?
Yeah, so I'd probably do 3 or 4 sessions in a day, but no longer than 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
So I don't want you getting him to the point where, even though the food's good, he's tired, because his body will remember that it's tiring doing that. So it's a bit like people. I used to be an exercise freak. I used to be a real idiot for exercise, and I got to the point where I couldn't actually have any other life because I was so addicted to exercise, and then that started to put me off. That started to make me feel like I didn't want to do it. And once you've got into the habit of not doing it, it's hard to get back into it. So yeah, I want him always to be wanting more. Yeah.
Okay.
I want you to tell him when the game is on, and I want you to make it really obvious when the game is not on, you know. So we're going to have some kind of a way of saying to him, that's it, all done, you know, jazz hands, all done. And then ignore him. You're not going to carry on chatting to him. So I feel like I ought to get you moving again. So I want you to do a combination of say it, do it, feed it at your feet.
Yeah.
Say it, do it, roll it.
Yeah.
Dodge and dive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want you to combine all of those together, and every now and then throw in a what's this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So mess it up. Let's see how unpredictable and fun you can be.
I'll move this down.
Okay.
He's quickly looking like, what are you doing?
Right.
We are getting his, he's getting castrated because he's got to have his canine teeth taken out. His baby canines haven't been taken out. So rather than having 2 anaesthetics, we're just going to do it all in one go.
Less is better, isn't it, apparently?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one should we do?
So you need to do say it, run, give it at your feet, then say it, run, roll it.
Yeah.
You didn't run.
Yeah.
You go.
Say it first, then run.
Oh. All right.
Say it, run.
Yeah.
Give it.
Yeah. Oh. That was it, wasn't it?
No.
1, 2, 3. Say it, do it, feed it.
So say, run,
Oh, yeah.
feed.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out in the garden.
Yeah, he's going straight to you.
Yeah, so you now do it.
Yeah. Going straight out. Yeah. Yeah.
I pitched that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the reason, yeah, there you go.
What's this?
Begin with, when you're first teaching it, I want you to make sure that he's looking at you before you call him, or he's moving towards you before you call him.
Okay.
Yeah, to begin with.
Yeah.
That's it. He's run.
straight out.
You see him just
Hey, Dom.
that then.
Yeah.
Right, so he's looking at you. I know he was through the glass.
Yeah, that was a distance as well. That.
Okay.
Yes.
That'll do for now. Let's leave him wanting.
Yeah.
He'll start crying probably.
That's it. So leave him wanting. So we want him to think that when he hears that sound, life just becomes so much more fun. Yeah, just become, and that's gonna make it harder for him to accidentally learn that it's tiring. All right, so I did a couple of graphics. I'm going to put them on the end of this video because you're going to get a copy of this video. So I'm just going to share my screen and find them because I forgot to find them earlier because that was stupid. So where am I going to go?
So only do that here, inside and outside the garden, not outside when we're walking.
No, for this week.
For this week. Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yes, I see.
For this week, you're only going to do it where it's going to be, it's going to work. It's not going to fail. Because if you start doing it where it's going to fail, then you're going to end up having to redo the whole thing again. So we need, as much as possible, we want him wanting to get to us and wanting for us to say that sound.
Yeah.
Okay. So bear with me while I find the thing. So I'm going to give you a quick glance at the recall class stuff in a minute. So can you see on your screen? There is.
Not yet.
Yeah?
No, all I can see is you.
Just,
Oh,
yeah.
Let me just see if I've not shared it properly. It's because I haven't done it yet. So share screen. There we go. So you should be able to see. This is my recall notes. And the one I want you to look at. Oh, he's not that weak, because that would have been sensible, wouldn't it? Opened the wrong week. Week 2. Week 2.
Did you see that's a day chasing?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So the only reason I'm doing this is I want you to be able to refer back to it. So can you see that now? It's a different picture, but it's the second week of my course.
Yeah, we see that.
Okay, so we've done this bit. We've chosen a new cue, which it says a recall cue. It's easy to remember. You need a long line and a food reward. And the food rewards need to be things you can toss about easily and handle easily that aren't going to break up or scatter when you're tossing them and you know, sort of scattering them about. They're not going to fall apart. And then we need this one. So say it, do it, feed it. So you're standing still. You wait for the dog to look at you. You say your cue. That's your here. You do it, which is your run. You wait for them to get to you, and then you put your treat at the feet. Yeah?
Yes.
So that's your order for that one. Then we do it dodge and dive. So we're standing still, our feet are still, but the upper body is moving. The dog doesn't know which way you're going to dive to. We're waiting for them to look and pay attention to the fact that we're acting weird. And then when they're looking at us, we say it, we run, and we feed it. Does that make sense? Okay. And say it, do it, and roll it is the same. So we're standing still, and this doesn't have to be a standstill. Once you've done it, it can be a dodge and weave. You wait for them to look, you say it, you do it, you wait for them to catch you, and then you roll it away. And that means that as you roll it away, then they're running away from you. As soon as they turn around and start looking at you, moving back towards you, you can say it again, because you've got a second chance to practice them coming back towards you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an idea for combining. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but it's putting all of the little bits together to make you unpredictable. The more unpredictable you are, the more fun it is for the dog, and the more likely they are to want to carry on staying engaged with you. So we stand still, we wait for the look, we say it, do it, and wait for them to catch us. Put your treat at your feet, dodge and dive, wait for the look, say it, do it, roll it, and then you can start again. You can do, the more you mess it up, the more fun it is. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And hopefully you're going to have fun with that. But yeah, for the first week, we're only doing it at home. We're only practicing the actual sound and those actions at home, because the more we try and do it in a high distraction environment, the more likely it is that it will fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want him to have lots and lots of experience of that feeling. When I hear that word, my body just alerts and I want to move. I'm ready to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he's really good at it at home, first take him to somewhere nice and safe with your long line, somewhere that isn't too busy, where he's likely to be able to hear you. And then again, a few goes at practice, but no more than 2 or 3 or 4 sessions on that walk. Don't overdo it.
Okay. Where do you think, have you been, so what you're just saying now, where you've been taking them, have you taken any dogs? Do you recommend anywhere?
What places to go practice? Well,
Yeah.
I love going to places where you know you're secure and no other dogs are going to come in. So there is a local field that's
Yeah, I think Dawn said about it.
Yeah, a secure field where there's going to be sniffs and scents and things for him to engage with and things for you to practice calling him away from. There's our place at Tykes. You can hire that and use. We can't be indoors with you, but you could use the space outdoors. I'm not sure about the indoor space if we're not there, whether or not legally you can. I'd have to check more. Dawn will probably know the laws with regards to the COVID for that.
Yeah.
It would be a case of coming, locking you in there, you practicing on your own, and then coming out and me locking it up afterwards. So I'd sit in the car for an hour. Yeah.
Would you recommend the airfield?
No.
The airfield's all right as long as you're online and as long as there's no other dogs and things going on at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's just there's quite a lot of bunnies and foxes and birds and things. So practicing there was quite hard for Dodo because he likes to hunt things, anything that will move, basically.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. I'll find somewhere.
Things like Bradley Fields is quite good.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or the fields that on Taylor's Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see quite a lot of dogs on long lines on there.
Yeah. Or the beach is quite good if you can stand the sand and stuff on the lead.
Yeah. I'll find somewhere.
Just any space. And, you know, any open space where you can feel that you can keep an eye on what else is going on and whether or not you can practice. Because if we're practicing in the first stages, if we're practicing where there's high level of distraction, so there's other dogs or something that we know where is going to want to run towards, we're more likely to call and for him not to be able to respond. So to begin with, we practice where he's likely to get it right, and then we can slowly test it in harder and harder situations as it becomes, that reflex response becomes stronger.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's brilliant. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just going to sign off.
Oh, there you go. You've seen the dog.
That's him out the window. We don't mind it because he tells us when people are at the door because can't hear it otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, I did consider buying a doorbell, and then I just decided there wasn't any point, you know.
No.
Who's the dog walker?
But would it be done that we would need to speak to book another one in?
Yeah, she keeps. I'm just going to let my dogs in. That's why I put my camera down. But she keeps the diaries, and she knows what she's doing. So, yeah, it does all. It gets booked through Dawn, because every time I try and book anything, I just mess it up.
No, that's fine. I'll give her a ring, and I'll probably get like the same time next
You
week.
want to see my beasties?
Yeah.
Hello. Oh.
Dougie wants to see as well. Well, hey, crikey.
Aww.
It's my little doggies.
There you go, Dougie's looking. Look, can you see him? Doug looks good.
That.
Doug, look.
Look.
What's that? What's that?
He's looking right at it. See, if you're good, Doug, you'd be at the school with him.
Yeah. No, apparently he was harassing Dodo, to be fair.
Is that your boyfriend, is it? Is that your special friend, is it?
Yeah, I think he is. He was harassing him.
Oh gosh, Doug.
Then you're a bit too much for him, weren't you, Doug? A bit too much, weren't you? So you got told off.
Yes.
But yeah, he's getting castrated at the same time because they said that having one anesthetic is better than having two.
Absolutely.
Okay, look at him.
Yeah, I know.
If you're going to be doing it, yeah, absolutely combine it. And you don't want to keep those teeth in for too long because they'll damage the adult teeth.
Well, his adult teeth have already come through. He's got two canines
Down.
on the top. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's good.
That was like synchronised.
Good. That's it. Good. Ready. Pause. Pause.
Oh. Go on.
She can't do it. She's too old.
Aww.
She'll just slip. Turn around. Over your face.
Oh, look.
Oh. She says that's it.
She's
I
trying.
like to do.
See, he's really good with stuff like that. Like he can do sit, roll over, spin, lay down,
Yeah.
high five. Like he's really good with all that. It's just the actual stuff that he needs to know. He doesn't.
Do you know everything that you've taught will build onto stuff in the future once his brain is more in line? At the minute, it's more a case of preventing them from practicing the stuff we don't want them to know about.
Yeah.
Keeping them safe, you know, is keeping them. So, oh, she says she wants water. There's none in the bowl. So we better go and get maybe a drink, can't we? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I will. I'll book in again with Dawn, and probably for like this time next week. So we can.
Did she tell you about the sort of you can get it a bit cheaper if you book the?
Yeah. So she said that I could book this first one, and then she'll add it on to the other five. Other five. So I might just do that because it works out cheaper.
Yeah. So, but will we end up doing it outside with you? If anything.
Don't know. We're waiting on Boris, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said that you weren't feeling very well, so.
I've just been told to get a COVID test. I've been poorly, but it's because somebody else where I work at the vets has had a positive test as well. So, but you know, I don't feel bad. I just, I think the fact that I had to have some time off work for flu for what felt like flu for the past couple of days, and so work just said go get your test, which I've had to do. And of course, while I'm waiting for the results, it's not a good idea to be seeing people.
Yeah, true.
They're banging on their bowl because there's no water in them.
Right, all right then.
We'll leave you to get you some water.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.